Hello everyone, this is Mahantesh Bhapri. Welcome to this video, dear children, friends and students. Today I have brought before you a beautiful poem, which can bring a good message to one and all. That is poem number 8, Mending Wall. Poem number 8, Mending Wall. It's written by Robert Frost. So this poem, mending means repairing wall. So what kind of wall is there? So there is a mental wall between people, mental wall between two neighbors. One is speaker and other is narrator. So here we find fencing around our own property. Whenever we get or purchase some property, we fence it. To protect our property, we fence it. So actually, is it needed? So when your houses are just side by side, is the compound wall is needed? Is the wall between you and your neighbor is needed? So what is the use of that? So that all the poet gives complete information in this present poem. So still, dear viewers, you are watching our videos for the first time, please subscribe our channel just pressing red colored subscribe button which is on your screen. Please share our videos. If you find our videos are good, please give your like so that it can make us and it can support us in bringing beautiful videos in future. So thank you for subscribing. So let's go to the poem. What is the name of poem? Mending Wall. Who is the poet? Robert Frost. So before we start, let's study about the poem. Dear children, please open your textbook, page number 119 or 119. So note on the author. Are you ready, dear children? Robert Frost, 1874 to 1963. He was born in 1874 in San Francisco. Robert Frost was born in San Francisco in 1874. He is regarded highly for his realistic depiction of rural life. So he depicted, he sketched, he brought beautiful sketch of rural life or country life in his poem. And his command of American colloquial speech. Colloquial means native usage, native use of language. So he was very much well versed in native use, colloquial speech. Please note down native language. So he employed or he brought or he wrote in American native language. Colloquial means native language. His work frequently employs setting from rural life in New England in the early 20th century. So we find frequently means often and often settings of rural life, the settings of country life and what are their ideals and how village people lead in their village, lead their life in the villages, that he goes on expressing in his present poem. Using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. So he employed or he skillfully viewed or he skillfully brought social and philosophical themes through his poems. ತಮ್ಮ ಕವಿತೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಹಲವಾರು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ತತ್ವಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತ ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಕವಿತೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. He became one of the country's best loved poets. So that's why he was read by not only England, not only America, the whole world reads his poem. So that's why he is considered one of the best loved poets. Despite the surface cheerfulness and descriptive accuracy of his poem, despite means in spite of, adagyu kuda. Please note down, despite means despite of, instead of. Despite means instead of. Okay. Despite, just despite. Despite means instead of, badalagi, adagyu kuda. Cheerfulness and descriptive accuracy. So we can see accuracy in description and we can also see cheerfulness, happy surrounding in his poems. He often presents a dark and sober vision of life. Sober means wise. Sober means wise vision, wise thought of life. Wise thought of life which we neglect in day-to-day life. Darker side means which we don't even think ನಾವು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಲಾರ್ದ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಯಾವ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ನಾವು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಲಾರ್ದೆ ನೆಗ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವೋ ಅಂಥ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕವಿತೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಯಸ್ತಾರೆ. And there is a decidedly thoughtful quality to his work. So we can see thoughts, beautiful thoughts are message in his poems. A popular and oft quoted poet, Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime, receiving 4 Pulitzer prizes in poetry. So he got Pulitzer prizes. He got Pulitzer prizes, which is also one of the highest prizes in the world. So it's a worldwide best, as we find a Nobel Prize, Bharat Ratna in India. In the same way, Pulitzer Prize is one of the highest prizes. So he got that prize for his poetry. So, okay, shall we start our poem? Are you ready, dear children? Please open your textbook, page number 113 or 113. Are you ready? Mending wall means repairing wall. Mend means repair. So repairing the wall. What kind of wall? Compound wall. So why it is needed? The basic question of the poet is why the repair of a compound wall is needed. Why do we repair compound wall? So there is no necessity. So why do people build walls around their property? What is the necessity to build walls around their property? To protect their property, so some people will do. Are they really required? Are those walls are required? So let's see it through this present poem. ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡುವಾಗ, ಜಾಗ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ, ಹೊಲ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ ಅದರ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲ ನಾವು ಬೇಲಿಯನ್ನು ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಜಾಗ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿಸಿದಾಗ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಹಾಕ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತನ್ನ ಕವಿ ಈ ಪದ್ಯದ ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು ಚಿತ್ರವನ್ನ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅವರು ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಾಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಬ್ರು ಕಟ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನೆರೇಟರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನೇಬರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೀಡ್ ಇಟ್ and dear children, please listen to me and how you have to read it easily. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have rabbit out of hiding. To please helping dogs, the gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. But at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet the walk the line and set the walls between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go. To each boulders that have fallen to each, and some are lows and some are nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until your backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to a little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat cones under his pines. I tell him, he only says, good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I would put a notion in his head, why do they make good neighbors, isn't it? Where there are cows, there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I would ask to know what I was walling in and or walling out. To whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say else to him, but it's not else exactly, and I would rather. He said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top. in each hand like an old stone savage arm. He moves in darkness as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go beyond his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. Right? So let's understand it line by line. It's a beautiful poem and even easy poem that we can understand. So here what happens is that the wall which separated the narrator or the speaker from his neighbor. So there are two people, we find two speakers in the poem. One is narrator or speaker and there is neighbor. So they have got both houses and the wall separated them. The compound wall separated them. That wall was broken. So that the forces of nature break that wall because of the winter season. So there might be some freezing. The whole atmosphere was completely wet and cold. In the same way, the rocks sink down and there was the stones were displaced. So both narrator and neighbor. So neighbor was insisting that let's build the wall again. Good fences make good neighbors. So that was the thing. So let's study. So in that way we have to understand. ಸೊ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕವಿತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಬ್ರು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದನೇದು ಈ ಪದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಅವರ ನೆರೆಹೊರೆಯವರು. ಇಬ್ರು ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಾಲ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಾಲ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ವಿಂಟರ್ ಸೀಸನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಚಳಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಮ ಬೀಳ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ವೆಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಅದು ತೊಯ್ದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಸರಿದಿರ್ತವೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೆಲವು ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೀಟಗಳು ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತವೆ, ಆ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಬಿಲಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳು ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಸರಿದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಒಂದು ಗೋಡೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆ ಇಬ್ರು ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ ವಾಲನ್ನು ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ನೆರೇಟರ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಅದರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಆ ನೆರೆಹೊರೆಯವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆಯವನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆಯವನು ಅದನ್ನು ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಹಳೆಯ ಕಾಲದ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಾಲ್ ನಾವು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ನೇಬರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಗುಡ್ ಫೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಗುಡ್ ನೇಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಏಜ್ ಮೆಂಟಾಲಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ ವಾಲ್, ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ವಾಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. Between people. So it was dark age mentality. So what was good fences can make good neighbors. So in that way we have to understand. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನಸಿಕವಾಗಿನೇ ಒಂದು ಗೋಡೆ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿರ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿ, ಇದು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಅದು ಅವರ ಆಸ್ತಿ, ಅವರು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡುವ ದೃಷ್ಟಿನೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ರೈಟ್? Something there is that doesn't love a wall. So here speaker does not love a wall. He does not like a wall between his neighbor and him. That sends frozen ground swell under it. The forces of nature break down the wall and the stones were displaced. Stones were fallen and they were displaced because of swelling, because of wet and swelling. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ತೊಯ್ದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ನೀರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಬಿದ್ದು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತವೆ. And spills the upper boulders in the sun. So the upper rocks were broke. So upper rocks were broken. ಮೇಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಒಡೆದಿರ್ತವೆ, ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಶಾಖಕ್ಕೆ ಒಡೆದಿರ್ತವೆ. ಸೂರ್ಯನ ಶಾಖ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಚಳಿಗೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಒಡೆದು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತವೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸೀಳಿರ್ತವೆ. And makes gaps even two can pass abreast. So there were gaps. So there was a gap between the two things. So here neighbor can walk there and he can walk here. So side by side even two people can walk. So such gap was there. And the work of hunters is another thing. Hunters means here rabbits. Please note down, dear children. Whenever you find new things, please note down. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊಲಗಳು ಹಲವಾರು ಬಿಲಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತವೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಆ ಗೋಡೆ ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಪೊಳ್ಳಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಕುಸಿತಿರ್ತದೆ. And I have come after them and made repair. So that's why neighbor was forcing to repair the wall. Neighbor was forcing repair the wall. Where they left not one stone on a stone. So there was no proper wall. The wall was broken. It was fallen down. ಇಡೀ ಗೋಡೆ ಬಿದ್ದು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತದೆ, ಒಂದು ಕಲ್ಲು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. But they would have rabbit out of hiding. So there was a rabbit habitat. There was a habitat of rabbit. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊಲಗಳು ಬಿಲಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತವೆ. To please the helping dogs. Helping means barking. ನಾಯಿಗಳು ಆ ಮೊಲಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ಒದರುತ್ತಿರ್ತವೆ. The gaps I mean. No one has seen them made or heard them made. No one has seen that rabbits have made their habitat, but they heard them made means it was heard by some people, right? Are you following, dear children? The wall was broken due to winter or frozen. The forces of nature broke down and stones were displaced. Both have decided to mend the wall or repair the wall. Okay, so this was the previous stanza. Let's go to next one. But at the spring mending time, it was spring time to repair that wall. Winter we cannot repair because there was a complete cold and chill was there. Spring mending time we find them there. So in the spring season they want to repair. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill. So the author, the speaker or narrator tried to convince his neighbor that is it needed. So what is the use of such wall? On a day we meet to walk the line. So he went with him walking and he tried to convince there is no need of this wall. ಅದರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. And set the wall between us and again. But that neighbor was not convinced. So he was not convinced. He said again and again that it is needed, let's repair. We keep the wall between us as we go. To each boulders that have fallen to each. So they decided to repair the wall. In that way they are building. So they are repairing the wall. We can see it in the picture. We keep the wall between us as we go. To each boulders that have fallen. Boulders means rocks. Each boulders they put one by one neatly. And some are lows. Lows means, please note down, lows, balls, shapes of rough stones. So those stones were rough stones, not made to build wall, not good shaped stone. It was roughed stone. It was rough stone. And some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. So they are making balance and they are putting stones by making balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. So both are insisting that keep the stone properly and balanced. ಅದನ್ನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಲ್ಲುಗಳನ್ನು ಜೋಡಿಸ್ಕೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೊತ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. So with our fingers we means narrator and neighbor skillfully repaired the wall, put one by one, put stone one by one. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. So it seems the repairing the wall seems to our poet or the speaker or the narrator, it was just like one more outdoor game. What was the outdoor game here? Mending the wall with his neighbor is game. It's an important question. What was the outdoor game in the poem? So mending the wall with his neighbor is the outdoor game. One on a side, one on one side, other was on the other side. It comes to little more. There it is. We do not need the wall. So the narrator or the speaker said again and again, there is no need of wall. ಇದರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ತಮ್ಮ ನೆರೆಹೊರೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಪಕ್ಕದ ಮನೆಯವರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಅವರು ಒಪ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. He is all pine. So that neighbor is having pine trees. That neighbor is having pine trees. There is no need of having such wall. ಪೈನ್ ಗಿಡಗಳಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ವಾಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. And I am apple orchard. So narrator has got orchard which is full of apple trees. There is no need here also. So a neighbor has got pine trees and narrator or the speaker has got apple trees. My apple trees will never get across. So that narrator or the speaker told that my apple trees never disturb you, my apple trees never disturb you, and your pine trees never disturb me. So there is no need of such wall. So what is that? There is a mental wall between. There is a mental wall between people. The mental wall between narrator and the neighbor. Okay. And eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. So there will be no animals, there will be no livestock. Livestock means animals which across his wall and eat pine, and there are no livestock which can eat apple. So there is no such thing. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಅವ್ರ ಪೈನ್ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ತಿನ್ಬೋದು, ಆಪಲ್ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ತಿನ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಣಿ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. He only says good fences make good neighbors. His neighbor only said one word again and again, again and again. What is that word? Good fences make good neighbors. If we build wall properly, strong wall, then we can become strong neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me. So spring season was to repair the walls, he said. And I wonder if I could put a notion in his mind. Notion means thought. If I put a thought in his mind, what was that thought? Why do they make good neighbors? So what is the need of having good neighbor? He asked. And isn't it where there are cows, but here there are no cows? So if there are cows or other cows and other livestock or animals, if there are such animals, so there will be the need of a wall. But there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I would ask to know. So before that narrator or the speaker built the wall, he again and again asked his neighbor, ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಇದರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆಯಾ? What I was walling in. Walling in means building in. ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನನ್ನ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹಾಕೊಳ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. What we were, this is a very beautiful thing, and 2 marks question can be asked. What is the meaning of walling in and walling out in the poem Mending Wall? What do you mean by walling in and walling out? Walling in means distrust. Distrust means having no trust among neighbors. And privacy. Privacy, having private life is given more and more focused. So what is the walling in? What are the things? Walling means having in the mind distrust, no trust, no belief, and privacy is focused. And what is walling out? What we are destroying, what we are leaving out. ಏನನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಏನನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಪನಂಬಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೈವಸಿ. ಅದರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಗೋಡೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕಟ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಏನನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೊರಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಏನನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಳ್ಕೊತಿದ್ವಿ, ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್, ಪರಸ್ಪರ ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಶಿಪ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮೈಂಡೆಡ್ನೆಸ್, ಓಪನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತನಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕಳೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಡಿಯರ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್. So this narrator or the speaker tried to convince his neighbor, but the neighbor was not in a position to listen. To whom I was like to give offense. So that neighbor thought that he was blaming. He was blaming. Offense means blaming, telling some unuseful things or useless things. He was thinking. Neighbor was thinking. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. So this narrator doesn't love a wall. He does not want or like wall. That wants it down. I could say else to him. So if I could say else means, what is the meaning of else? Elves sing small fairies that are used to play tricks on people. So some else means here imagine or some thought which is fixed in people's mind. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಅವು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಭಯಪಡಿಸಿ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಆಗುವಂತೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತವೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. I would rather, he said it for himself, I see him there. So again and again he said good fences can make good neighbors. Bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top. So he was bringing the stones and he was forming that wall top. In each hand like one old stone savage arm. So he was holding a stone in his hand like savage armed. Savage means ancient man. Savage means ancient man. Ancient man means the man who was living in old age. I mean not in old age, in olden period. Or say for example some centuries back how the man lived. What was his mentality? The same mentality he was showing. Savage armed. Dark age mentality, that is called. Dark age mentality means that he does not develop, he does not break that mentality. He moves in darkness as it seems to be. So he was going in the same darkness. He was moving in the same fear that if wall is built, we will be happy. We will enjoy privacy. Not of woods only. So when we are having woods, means when we are living in forest, that compound wall is needed to protect from wild animals, that was needed. But we are living in city, but we are living in a village, that was not needed. And the shade of trees. So shade of trees also we can need. He will not go beyond his father saying. What his grandmother was saying, what his father was saying, he does not go beyond. He does not even think beyond that saying. ಅವರ ತಂದೆ ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದರನ್ನ ಮೀರಿ ಯಾವುದು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. And he likes having thought of it so well. So he was liking, he liked again and again the same mentality, same thought. That what was that thought? He says again, good fences make good neighbors. So if we build good walls, strong walls, we can become strong neighbors, good neighbors. So narrator or the speaker tried to convince again and again, but the neighbor was not in a position to listen it and follow it. So this is the way how the narrator or the speaker tried to convince his neighbor in this poem. Through this poem, Robert Frost wanted to tell that still we are living in the mental wall between people. Let's break it and live in the world of. So let's break our narrow mind and let's live in the world, in the global village. Let's have open-mindedness. Let's trust other. Let's have good friendship. Let us think with open-mindedness. Let's be broad. In that way, the poet wants to give you message. The poet wants to give the only simple message that don't live in mental wall between people. Try to be broad. We are living in global village. We have to think globally. That's what we should avoid. Distress or privacy. Some up to some amount privacy is needed, but we should avoid distress. We should have trust, friendship, open-mindedness. That poet wants to give message through this poem. So thank you everyone for being with us and learning this poem beautifully. Please share this video to your friends and students, dear teachers. So still, if you have not subscribed our channel, please subscribe our channel by pressing red colored subscribe button which is on your screen. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ತಾವು ಪ್ರಥಮ ಬಾರಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಡಿಯೋವನ್ನು ವೀಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಂಪು ಬಣ್ಣದ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಬಟನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಒತ್ತಿ ತಾವು ಮುಂಬರುವ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ ತಮ್ಮ ಮೊಬೈಲಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕವಾಗಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಮೀಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ವಿತ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ and with new learning. So thank you everyone. Please take care.